Hello, crypto people. Joey here from the Chart Guys. I've been trading full time for 7 years. Been part of the Chart Guys for 6 years. Joined as a member in 2018, and now I'm part of the team here to talk to you about some crypto. So we had a decent pullback on Bitcoin. We knew that we were in that territory where that is certainly in the cards and was, quote, due, but we've been trusting our clues along the way. And now the big question is this the beginning of a big shift, or is this just another dip to buy? And, to the surprise of maybe some people, maybe nobody here, we don't know yet, but we do have clues that we'll be looking for to determine what do we have going on here. Is this going to be the beginning of weekly consolidation, or is it just another dip to buy and bulls are going to continue holding the daily 12 EMA? So let's go on through, break down what happened, break down how we were able to, on the last stream, say that, maybe the show is about to come to an end, and then we'll look at what we're looking towards from here. So going into the last stream, we had been bouncing from our hourly oversold back burner pretty much every time along this way up, and we were starting to get higher highs without follow through. Bit of a 4-hour rising wedge, but we know that in this market environment, rising wedges are not the highest conviction play. We're up at all-time highs, and you can see these rising wedges continue on up, continue on up, continue on up. But this is where social sentiment can come into play here. And essentially when you start getting people that don't care about crypto, talking about crypto, starting to buy, starting to do all this and that, you've got all of the profit-taking shaming going on. It just tells you to, batten up the hatches a little bit, maybe be a little bit more cautious and see where things go from there. So that was kind of what we were talking about Wednesday. And if you haven't watched Wednesday's stream, I definitely recommend going back and watching that, because it's a good learning experience for how we can navigate this stuff, and ended up being pretty timely with, we were steadily bullish for quite some time on the way up, but Wednesday's stream was the first time where it was like, okay, maybe we need to be a little bit careful there. So it's certainly doesn't always work out like that, but it's nice when it does work out like that. So we came on down here into hourly oversold conditions on Thursday, right around noon or so. And if we look at our previous hourly oversold bounces, we'll just look at the last three. We had this one, as soon as you hit it, it kind of went a little deep into there, but then just V-shaped back up. This one came into it, V-shaped back up. This one came into it, V-shaped back up. This one, when we came into it, we started the V-shape, but then as soon as we started to pull back here, we were able to say in the chat room that this one is already a little bit different from what we have been working with. And, bulls ended up getting a decent bounce underway. So if you were playing this hourly oversold back burner, you were given an opportunity to get your risk out of the equation, take some profits, and there's no doubt that that's a very nice bounce there at this point. And to go down and drop to lower lows, definitely the less likely scenario. But as we know, if the less likely scenario is going to play out, it's going to be on increasing bull volume. Look at the bull volume on the bounce, and look at the bear volume. I think I said it will be on increasing bull volume if the less likely scenario is going to play out. It's just increasing volume, whichever way you're going. If you're going to V-shape to new highs, you're going to need increasing bull volume. If you're going to dump down to new lows, you need increasing bear volume. And this was a swift dump down here on increasing bear volume, and we broke support. And then at that point, we know that something's different here. Hourly oversold has been marking our lows for weeks on end at this point, and now they haven't marked the lows. So from there, as we're always talking, it's the zoom out game. And if you don't know what a back burner is, go to the Chart Guys website. Let's see, I'll just pull it up here so we can see this. Go to the Chart Guys website, go into the search bar, type in back burner, and you'll get all of the information about it. Videos, articles, this and that, and drill it into your head, because it's a super valuable trading technique for these kinds of environments. And anybody want to take a guess where we're bouncing from here? This current low? I'll turn on the indicator, and I'm going to brighten up this line just so people can see it a little more clearly here. 4-hour oversold. It's the zoom out game. We're always talking about the zoom out game. As soon as you lose your hourly uptrend, you're looking to the 4-hour trend, then you lose that, you're looking to the daily trend, you lose that, you're looking to the weekly. The same thing goes for our backburners. So as soon as that hourly oversold backburner failed, we're looking to the 4-hour oversold backburner. And it absolutely ticked it. Couldn't have been more perfect. And now we've got a bounce underway. So now the big question is, where do we go from here? Are bulls going to recover and we're looking back up to all-time highs, or is the shift on? The big tell for what we're going to get is what happens on the daily from here. One, where do we close today? Do we close above the daily 12 EMA? It's definitely feeling some pressure. We can say that, combine the loss of the hourly backburner with the push below the daily 12 EMA. We can say there's some degree of a shift on. But the beauty of being in uptrends is that as soon as you fail one of your trends, you zoom out to the next one. And there is a very real chance that bulls save it from there and keep the show on the road. We had that from, if we go back to the 5-minute I'm going to scroll back a little bit here. On this whole move up, it was the 5-minute backburner marking our lows. And then it ended up being, is that what I want to be looking at? I think so. I think this is the right spot. We had 5-minute backburners marking our lows, and then the 5-minute failed, and then it ended up being the 15-minute started marking our lows, and then it was hourly started marking our lows, and it's just the zoom out game. And just because that first 5-minute backburner failed didn't mean that the show was over. So just because our first hourly backburner failed doesn't mean the show's over, but what happens from here will be very telling. Do bears confirm a daily downtrend from here to get weekly consolidation underway, or do bulls bounce over 50% of the pull back and then reconfirm a daily uptrend to keep the show on the road, keep the weekly stair step intact? Nobody knows what's going to happen. And that's why every stream we're saying, we're not predicting things. We're defining what constitutes a character change and what do we do with that information. So we're on to the next step. We're on to the 4-hour backburner. So at this point, bulls are trying to confirm an hourly inverse head and shoulders to get a 4-hour bounce underway. Then we'll be looking for a 4-hour lower high compared to 72,419. And if bulls can get a nice 4-hour bounce, get up to the EMAs, and reclaim a 4-hour uptrend, then that'll be a daily bounce getting underway. And then we'll have to see, do we get a daily lower high compared to all-time high 73,777, or do bulls V-shape it? And if we get the lower high, can bears confirm the downtrend? So there's a lot to be watching here. And as far as kind of more subtle clues, or not super subtle, but if we look in the alt space, a lot of alts got pretty smoked. There's definitely some still holding on strong, but like if we look at INJ, that's not healthy daily consolidation. Tons of room for a daily lower high. There are a lot of alts that have room for daily lower highs, and that's not what bulls want to see necessarily. You want to see everybody remaining strong. That being said, we definitely do still have some rotation going on, so that is what bulls want to see to a degree. Not like a ton of rotation. If we look at Bitcoin dominance, it hasn't been doing a lot the past few days, which tells us that everybody's kind of doing the same thing more or less. But names like Sol, and if you remember from the last stream, and this is another one where it's like, you can't always anticipate that it'll play out this nice, but this is exactly what we were looking for on Sol. Looking at Sol BTC, knowing Sol's relatively weak, but knowing that Sol BTC is looking for a monthly high or low, we had our daily equilibrium and then bull break and massive follow through. And if you look at Sol USD right now, pushing up to new highs. So is there anything wrong with Sol? Absolutely not. Do the crypto bulls like to have alts still alive? Absolutely. That's a good thing for the space. You're not seeing the full-on exodus of capital at this point. And you are still seeing some rotation to a degree. AVAX, another name that is catching a wave of rotation. Daily high or low trying to shape up off the 12 EMA and pushing up to the highest prices in quite some time, since May 2022. So those are two of our stronger alts that we've got. SEI is another strong one. Daily downtrend confirmed, no follow through, bulls snapping up the dip, trying to keep the show on the road, trying to get back to all-time highs. That's good. But when we look around at some other alts, let's see I think these guys are all getting hurt the most. You know, AAVE, daily head and shoulders, if bulls hold 120.27. So, looking like weekly consolidation may be shaping up there. But if you remember from back here, looked like weekly consolidation was shaping up here, but you've got to confirm your daily downtrend. So there are many alts that the stage is set for them to confirm daily downtrends, see weekly consolidation, same as Bitcoin. But the burden of proof is still on bears. The burden of proof is on bears. They showed their teeth a little bit, and there is a degree of a shift underway, but to what degree, we have to stay tuned and find out here. So let's see, what else do we want to look at? We'll just kind of go down the list at this point. Well, we'll get some levels on Bitcoin. So, okay, that inverse head and shoulders is confirming on the hourly time frame for Bitcoin. That is the 4-hour bounce underway. We'll look to the 4-hour 12 EMA for potential resistance. And now this hourly uptrend will be a solid guide for this bounce. So hourly higher low support, 67,520. And as far as resistances, there's not a lot in this area. We got a little dinker at 69,440. And I'll be mainly concerned about the 4-hour 12 EMA. And let's see what RSI is looking like. So another clue we can use here. We know we've been using our backburners, our oversold backburners as guides for the bull moves up. If we start to see reverse backburners hit, then that's another little clue that we can say, okay, well, I guess bears mean business. So what bears want to do is have 15-minute overbought mark the 4-hour lower high. So let's look at where that would be at this point, and it would be right around the 4-hour 12 EMA. We can do the same thing that we were doing for dips for bounces. So looking at our 15-minute overbought right around 4-hour 12 EMA, if bears top the bounce there, then that's a good look for them. That being said, bulls, I would say, are already making enough room for a 4-hour higher low. So if we were to go to 4-hour lower lows from here, one, that would further solidify that a shift is certainly on and weekly consolidation is gaining favor big time. But two, if that were going to happen, it would need to be what we saw yesterday, where you have the increasing bear volume on the way down there. So going to be keeping eyes on that. And one thing that you can do with TradingView that is super powerful to be able to keep eyes on multiple things and maintain perspective of what's going on is you can set alerts on these EMAs. So if you right click, go to alert, and then instead of price, you go to your EMA indicator, 12 EMA. It's time frame dependent, so you just do it on the 4-hour and you hit create. So that will notify you if we're testing the 4-hour 12 EMA. So decent bounce at this point. Bulls certainly like to be seeing follow through on the 4-hour oversold backburner. So it really is a battle. I mean, it's always a battle, but at this point, the question is 4-hour oversold backburner going to mark a temporary bottom that eventually leads to new highs? Or are bears going to take us down below the daily 12 EMA and increase the odds of weekly consolidation? That's the big question here. So we will see what we get. So but before we move on from Bitcoin, I just want to shout out some folks in the chat room here because, it's been really sweet. Everybody's been, or I suppose I can't say everybody, but a lot of people have been crushing this bull move up. People have been on the right side of the action, and we had people pretty much start shorting at the top, which is nice because sometimes on bull moves you'll see, and I've definitely done this myself and been a part of it, where you got people just banging their head against the wall and trying to short counter trend against the momentum, and you end up getting smoked. But nobody was really doing that. And so this is yesterday in the middle of the night, humpback whale, looking at the 4-hour rising wedge. And then we had a little hourly rising wedge within there. So the hourly rising wedge broke, and that sent the 4-hour rising wedge down to break as well. And then we had a handful of members that nailed the short. Humpback whale, Chris Shermer, Ryan V, and you just love to see it. You love to see people getting those trades off the ground, having them work out, and just staying on the right side of the action, because it can be very difficult. On this move up, it feels like we should be coming down, and to be able to stay bull on it and then pretty much nail the top, those three dudes did. And you just love to see it. So big shout out to those dudes. I know Ryan covered 2/3 of his short. He's leaving the rest with a stop over the high as a potential hedge. And I believe Humpback, and I don't know if Humpback covered everything. I don't know if Chris is still holding or not. Chris is a maniac. That guy has a ton of positions on regularly. Like I maybe 3 positions max. I mean, if I'm swinging stuff, I can have more. But yeah, Chris at one point had like 39 positions on. I don't know how he does it. So tough to keep track of whether he's still in the short or not. I would imagine he's covered the bulk of it. So let's see. That's Bitcoin. Let's just move through the list. ETH, we know we've been watching the 12-hour 12 EMA as our guide for over a month now at this point, and it's lost. So the shift is on. The shift is on, but to what degree? That is the question. Same deal with the daily 12 EMA being our guide. The close here today will be crucial, and we're a bit weaker than Bitcoin still. So anything below 4,093 would be a daily lower high next bounce, and same deal. Can bears confirm a daily downtrend to get weekly consolidation underway, or is the show going to stay on the road? So let's look at our weekly. Looking like a reversal here, but we still got a few days before the weekly candle ends. If bulls bounce through into the weekend, then we're going to say bears had their shot, but they're failing at this point, because it's going to be about retracement size. If we look at this 12-hour, I think I'm liking the 12-hour more than the daily actually for Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm liking daily 12 EMAs, but 12-hour just for a little more detail on the structure of what we've got going on. So we're watching our 50% retracement. So I'm just going to pull it from the high there. So bulls need to get through 38.21 to decrease the odds that bears can confirm a downtrend from here. Bulls get up and over, then that's a point in the column of 4-hour oversold backburners are hitting and bulls are staying healthy. If we don't get to the 50% retrace, that's a point in favor for, the shift is more notably on. So ETH BTC, still weak. Looking at the daily, still looking for a higher low compared to 52.90. And this is what I'm saying with Sol BTC, and I say it doesn't always work out like that, but it's nice to see it. I was saying the same thing, that we're looking for some rotation into ETH if this ETH BTC can set a daily higher low. Haven't gotten it yet. So and if you look at Sol USD and ETH, very different stories. That's that relative strength and relative weakness. We can never guarantee if something is going to happen, obviously. Or maybe not so obvious. A lot of newer traders think that professional traders just have a magic 8-ball and know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. We just know what to look for and what the signs are for that. So like when Sol BTC broke this daily EQ bullish, we said, okay, the Sol rotation play is on. If ETH BTC breaks its daily stair step, we'll say, okay, the ETH play is on. If it doesn't break it, then it's not on. So that's the general structure of how all of this stuff works. Nobody knows. We just know what to look out for and what it means when certain things happen. So still looking out for it on ETH BTC. This is a big old tightening range, and unless we continue to see increasing bear volume, a higher low compared to this is the most likely scenario. And talking bigger picture in terms of, okay, so say Bitcoin does cool off, we get some weekly consolidation. We want to see that money rotate into the alts. And 2 key things to be watching for with that is going to be this ETH BTC tightening range, as well as Bitcoin dominance. If we're going to see the rotation game on into the alts, this needs to continue to be a daily downtrend. It's kind of haphazard at this point, not a lot to glean from it, but bears on the dominance chart need to show up, and that will tell us that rotation is happening to a degree. But then you have the second layer of it, because if Bitcoin dominance is going down, that means Bitcoin is weaker than the alts. that can mean everybody's dropping together and Bitcoin's going down more than the alts, or it can mean Bitcoin's going down and you've got some alts going up. It's unlikely to be Bitcoin going down and all of the alts going up, and that's where you use your ratio chart. So I've got a watch list, where is it, my BTC ratios, where I've got all the ratio charts for the stuff, and I'll come in here, I'll sort it by percentage, and then that's how you can just very easily see who are your lead bulls for the day. So when I sit down at the computer in the morning, I look at this ratio chart, and that tells us where our rotation's happening. Who are our lead bears? Who are our lead bulls? And then you can go from there. So let's see, getting a little disorganized here. Let's get back on it. So ETH, to finish that off here, very similar head and shoulders to Bitcoin. It is breaking the right neckline, needs to break the left neckline to have a bit more confidence in this 4-hour bounce. And we'll look for the lower high compared to 39.32. And the question will be, can bulls regain a 4-hour uptrend to get a daily bounce underway, or does the 4-hour uptrend or downtrend remain intact? So looking at LTC, another alt with a lot of room for a daily lower high compared to 105.71. And let's look at our 4-hour bounce. 4-hour bounce is underway. Got a 4-hour downtrend. Anything below 95.40 going to be a 4-hour lower high. And that is that. Let's see, just had an alert go off. Is this our Bitcoin 4-hour 12 EMA? It is. So let's see here. Let's see what bulls are about. Let's see what bears are about. We are at 15-minute overbought. Nice increasing bull volume, and we're testing that EMA. So this is one of those situations. You all know I love stair steps. Say you're a bear and you're thinking the show's over and you're trying to get this lower high. When you have something like this, a 2-minute stair step, yeah, we'll stick with the 2-minute for it. This is a high probability entry opportunity. Where do we know if it's going to be the 4-hour lower high? No, absolutely not. Again, nobody knows. But we try to put ourselves in situations where we can get risk-free and give it a chance to shape up. So you've got a task. Your task is looking for the 4-hour lower high. And then you zoom into your smaller timeframes to look for a tool. Do you have a rising wedge? Do you have a head and shoulders? Do you have a stair step? You can't choose your tool ahead of time. The market determines what your tool is. So we have a 2-minute stair step. So how it would look, it's not totally ideal here now with this next push up, but we'll set it up regardless and see. It would be best if we can get one more 2-minute candle, because basically you want to, my rule for the stair steps is I don't want a 1-to-1 move to be below the time frame that I'm playing it on, the 12 EMA on that time frame. So ideally we'll get something like this, where you can say, okay, well, to the 12 EMA, that's a 2-to-1 move. You only need to get halfway there to get your 1-to-1 if it were to break from here. So that's more ideal for it. And then you short on the 2-minute stair step break, you cover half at your 1-to-1 or a little bit more to cover your fees if you are concerned with that. I personally choose not to worry about the fees. I find that it messes up my psyche, and I'd rather just accept it as a cost to play the game, and I just go for my 1-to-1, and I'm not like technically risk free, but I've got most of the risk out of the equation. So we'll see how this shapes on up. We'll just talk through it at this point, because I believe we're getting close to that potential, and then we'll look and see how it plays out. So this is how it would be set up here now if we're to break on this next candle. Got 8 seconds left, so we'll be good to go from here. And if that breaks, you would enter short on the break. You'd look to cover half at your 1-to-1, and then you're risk free. And if then you let the market gods take it from there. If it ends up being a 4-hour lower high, you got a great position and you're good to go. If it doesn't, then you stop out and you lose nothing, just your fees. And the beautiful thing about the stair step is it doesn't require you to predict anything. It's a reactive play. So bulls are already definitely liking the size of this bounce, pushing up through the EMA, pushing up a little bit through 15-minute overbought. But to be fair, I said the same thing on this bounce. I was like, I'm surprised with this. And I got off the computer and my alert went off for breaking these lows. I was like, what in the hell is going on? And yeah, it was obviously just a waterfall dump there. But at this point, looking at the 4 hour, we're already above the 0.5 retrace. So we are nearing favor, or we're gaining points for bulls. Obviously, the more you bounce up, the more points that bulls are getting, the tougher it's going to be for bears to get a close below the daily 12 EMA. So again, that's what bulls want to see. That is what bulls want to see. A shift is on, but how much of a shift? It's looking like less of a shift with the size of this bounce. So let's see how long this makes us hunt the 2 minute stair step. Let's we can take a quick pop over to ETH, getting some more follow through here, but you can see the relative weakness still far below the 4 hour 12 EMA and still below the 0.5 retrace by a good margin here. So I reckon we've got Bitcoin dominance going up with this. Yeah. So Bitcoin dominance, solid move up, showing us that Bitcoin is leading the way up here. But let's look at our lead bulls. So Sol is continuing to new highs. And on a percentage standpoint, it's likely bigger the last two 15-minute candles in Bitcoin. But from a structural standpoint, oh, actually Bitcoin is bigger. 3.1 on those two. Oh, 3.24. Sol's marginally larger. All right, let's see. Looks like our 2 minute stair steps fixing to break. And we'll see if this could be a good example of how to get a risk-free position off the ground with short time frame navigation. I'm just going to set an alert. We'll keep checking back in on it, but going to keep the show on the road as bulls maintain their control. All right. What else we got? So talked about LTC, BTC still in its daily tightening range. So this is very similar to ETH BTC, but obviously much smaller because this is just a couple weeks that we've been tightening up, whereas ETH BTC is a couple months that we've been tightening up, almost 3 months. So if LTC BTC breaks the daily stair step to see a daily bounce, then we'll see relative strength back into LTC USD. But for now, we've been weak for 4 days here. Let's look at Sol a little bit more and get a bit more of a guide. So we know we have a daily uptrend, daily 12 EMA. That's our main guide here. But as far as smaller time frames, yeah, 4 hour 12 EMA, 4 hour uptrend. So pretty traditional fractal relationship there. So 4 hour uptrend, 4 hour 12 EMA, that would need to be lost to see some daily consolidation play out. Be looking for hourly oversold back burner, next pullback. And that's that. And you can see just the relative strength. If we're looking at Thursday's dump, look at this on Sol, and then look at that on Bitcoin. Two completely different situations there. So the ratio chart watch list, I encourage everybody to whip one up with everything that you trade, even if you don't have the ratio utilization in your trading tool belt. You can use it in a very crude sense just to be looking at, okay, who has relative strength, who has relative weakness. Like I get that, the more second layer implementation of this, of saying like, all right, we're looking for Sol to come into rotation because of the monthly context on the ratio chart. It's an advanced technique, and you don't need to have that whole thing in your toolkit to be able to utilize the ratio charts. So yeah, we're just going to be watching 4 hour uptrend on Sol USD. AVAX, we'll look at this since it's in play here today. So bounce right from daily 12 EMA. Let's see if it was hourly back burner. Doesn't look like we got there. Yeah, didn't quite get there. So just an EMA play, and bulls going to need to regain a 4 hour uptrend if they want to have confidence. Lots of room for a 4 hour higher low compared to 48.30. And that's that on AVAX. Let's see, another one that is interesting here is FET. We know the daily 12 EMA has been our guide for a long time, and bulls are bouncing from it. It's a blue sky bull AI coin, maintaining relative strength. on that Bitcoin pullback. So same as AVAX, bull's going to need a 4-hour uptrend to get a daily higher low set with confidence. So, and this is why you need to see your uptrends, because if we look at the daily here, we technically got our daily higher low set yesterday with the break of the high of the previous day, but you didn't have your 4-hour trend along with it. For me, that's not a 4-hour uptrend. That's too dinky. That's just one move up. You got to get your 4-hour uptrend with it. So we got one move up here on the 4-hour. Got to get your uptrend with it to be confident in a daily higher low shaping up. Let's see, Bitcoin, are you still going? Yeah, still going. Let's move this. And again, this is the beauty of the stair steps, because if you were like scaling in as soon as we hit 15-minute overbought, or just taking an initial entry at the 4-hour 12 EMA, you're underwater here now. And who knows how long the 4-hour stair or 2-minute stair step can continue on. If you wait for the stair step, it's a reactive play as opposed to an anticipatory play. There's an anticipatory element because you need to have a reason to take the stair step. You can't just be popping off stair steps at everything that's shaping up, because is everything not a stair step to some degree, depending how long it is or whatever. Stair steps are everywhere, but you need your larger time frame to tell you that, okay, well, we're looking for a 4-hour lower high, we're overbought on the 15-minute, then there's reason to believe that this 2-minute stair step could lead to something bigger. So always have to have a reason, or else you will just get chopped to crap if you're trying to take stair steps all the time. So my favorite stair steps to take are like a 1, 2, 5-minute stair step into like an hourly or 4-hour or daily EMA. So let's see, we'll kind of front run this a little bit. Sometimes if we got, and this is a bit more nuanced element to the stair steps, but you got 15 seconds left on the candle. Like I'd say once we get like 80% of the way through the candle, 75% of the way through the candle, I'll kind of be fine to say like, all right, I'm activating the stair step here. Sometimes you front run it, it doesn't work out, and then you get in on the stair step when there's still 15 seconds left in the candle, and then it doesn't actually follow through and you get burned. But I don't know, I found that 75-80% of the way through the candle, it can still, it's statistically viable to kind of front run that there. So let's see, come on Bitcoin, I'm trying to show an example here. Do it. Looks like it's doing it, but looked like it was doing it there too. So again, the risk to reward is crucial on these. Different people can have different ways of playing it, but what works for me is making sure that you've got your 1-to-1 and it's above the 12 EMA. If it's not, then you're essentially banking on the less likely scenario. Like if our top candle was really fat like that we're playing off of, and then your 1-to-1 is below the 12 EMA, then ultimately you're kind of looking for like the less likely scenario. We know that if the 2-minute stair step breaks, 2-minute consolidation is underway, but we can't look for anything more than a move to the 2-minute 12 EMA, because that's just how it goes. Can you just dump straight down through it? Absolutely. But is that the most likely scenario? No, not at all. So, all right, it has hit. If you're taking the stair step, you would be in short here now with a stop a little bit above the high, and we'll see if this can be a good example of getting a potential larger time frame position off the ground utilizing a small time frame tool. So we'll check back in. Let me put an alert on the top so we can see if we would get stopped out, and got an alert at the 1-to-1. Actually, it's not quite 1-to-1. We'll get it proper. So that's your 1-to-1. Put the alert there and see how this shakes on out. But you can see already how I just absolutely love stair steps. And I go to the 1-to-1, but you don't have to do that. Let me pull up something from the chat room real quick. If you take off more of your position, you don't need to shoot for as large of a move. Let's see, I got the post here, pulling it up. So again, this is, more of what goes on in the chart, guys. You got your guide for how much of your position you need to take off at what RR to get risk-free. And if you all want to screenshot this or something, it's super valuable. So if you're only shooting for 0.5 to 1, then you can take off 2/3 of your position and get risk-free. If you're only shooting for 0.25, you can take off 80% of your position and get risk-free. I like to do the 1-to-1 personally, but in some contexts, like if you're really fighting momentum, sometimes I will do the 0.5 or the 0.33 and be taking off 2/3 or 3/4, just because you have better odds of getting that. So like if we look at this, let me get that out of here. So we ended up getting to 0.62 at this point. We can still get to the 1-to-1, but if you were using, let's see, really any of these, if you took off 2/3, 3/4, 4/5, any of that, you would be risk-free on it at this point. But I don't know. I like going for the 1-to-1. We'll see if it ends up hitting or if you stop out. And then the other beauty of this is if you stop out, what do you lose? What do you lose? 0.42%. It's very, very low risk, high reward. And one more thing with the stair steps that is pretty crucial is if you're trying to do this, or say you're trying to do a 2-minute stair step to grab a 4-hour lower high, you need to give yourself at least 2 attempts and no more than 3 attempts. Because, and here's why, is essentially, the fractal nature of your 15-minute being linked with your 4-hour, that whole jazz. Well, if you're doing a 2-minute trying to link to your 4-hour, the gap between the timeframes is so big that your odds of actually hitting it are decreased, for obvious reasons. Like, how do we know that this 2-minute stair step's going to lead to a 4-hour lower high? It's, decently low odds for it, but it's high odds of being able to get risk-free. So that's why we do it. But you got to give yourself at least 2 attempts for this approach to be statistically viable. And you don't want to do any more than 3 attempts, because the last thing you want to do is be like, oh, well, it's a low risk trade. And then you stop out of 5 stair steps and then, end up taking a big loss because of, that stuff adding on up here. So looking like this one's going to stop out. We'll have to see. We'll have to stay tuned. So got the alert there. Let's see. Got a bunch of alerts that have popped off. There's Bitcoin and gold. Bitcoin and gold. So let's go through the list. What else we got? AIOZ, nice daily EQ up at the highs. High, low, lower high. Bulls trying to shape up a higher low. This breaks bull, the show goes on in blue skies. If it breaks bear, odds of weekly consolidation increase. Lots of alts looking for daily lower highs. We'll just kind of rapid click through. So we got AAVE, room for a daily lower high. Matic, room for a daily lower high. AXS, room for a daily lower high. Atom, room for a daily lower high and a daily downtrend. So that's a structural difference here compared to most of the others. Odds of weekly consolidation are increased here on Atom. ADA, not a lot of clarity on ADA. I'm not going to try to force something on there. It looks like we've got a 4-hour megaphone. Looks like we got a 4-hour megaphone, something like that, something like that. So a lot of times when you don't have clarity, unfortunately, it's a megaphone. If you can identify the megaphone ahead of time, you can work with it and play decently with it, but difficult to do. So Phil, let's talk about Phil. We know that Phil, we're looking to be our next baser that gets a big move, but we also knew that Phil BTC needs to get the monthly trend change and get over monthly 12 EMA, and we can see relative weakness here on Phil. So when we look at Phil BTC, we can see what's going on. And as we were talking about, I think last stream, how this is just not a great look with these higher highs, not seeing follow through. And ultimately what it's ending up being is another rejection from monthly 12 EMA. So not giving up on Phil, but identifying that what we were looking for isn't really playing out at this point because we didn't have a ratio complementing what we were looking for on the USD parent. Let's talk about the meme coins. So a bit of a shift on here. Our EQ broke bearish on SHIB. Long 6-hour EQ, 12-hour EQ, whatever you wanted to look at it on, has broken bear. So we are almost losing daily 12 EMA. Bulls are trying, or bear, yeah, bulls are trying to snap it back up. So if we were to lose daily 12 EMA, we'd say weekly consolidation is shaping up. If bulls can recover it and stay up and over, then they ultimately would need to get through 34.87 if we were to say, okay, you know, SHIB is still fine. SHIB is still fine and healthy. So Pepe, let's see. So we did get that little 8-hour inverse head and shoulders that we were talking about last stream, but no real follow through at this point. Where's our clarity at? Maybe a 12-hour? Yeah, I suppose we'll just do the zoom out game. It was 8-hour 12 EMA that we were riding. And after losing that, bears needed the 8-hour downtrend to see a shift. Didn't get that. Bounced right back to resistance. That's what had us look for the inverse head and shoulders. But now I guess we'll just go to the 12. Not a lot of clarity on this. Not a lot of clarity. Is the daily better? Yeah. Go watch. I think I'll stick with the daily. I think we'll stick with the daily. Just a little dainty uptrend up in blue skies. So that's still fine. That's still plenty healthy. When you look at what Bitcoin did and you look at what this did, you know that it's still chilling. It's like slowing down a little bit, but there's a difference between slowing down and coming unglued. So bulls will take that. Doge kind of similar to SHIB in the sense that bears trying to take up the daily 12 EMA, but bulls snapping it back up. Snapping it back up. So got to regain a 4-hour uptrend if we're going to say this daily 12 EMA is holding. And that's the same deal on SHIB. 4-hour bounce underway. Got to regain the uptrend if we're going to say it is underway. Let's check back in on that Bitcoin. Did we get stopped out? Yep. So that's one attempt. We'll line up the next one. See if we can't. Oh. See, that's what I'm saying. There's only 7 seconds left on the candle. If we had set it up preemptively, then we'd be in a lot better position. But we'll just set it up with this as is and see if it can go. And to be clear, I probably wouldn't take a stair step like this. But just for example's sake, we'll see if we can get one to kind of force one to stick. And see how it goes from there. All right, what else we got? So those are the meme coins. Anybody else interesting down here? Let's look at ZRX. This thing's been nutty. To straight up go up while Bitcoin is getting mogged is very impressive. So let's zoom out. So all-time highs, the log chart makes it look close, but it's still a decent bit away. 66%. We know in crypto that ain't diddly, but still 66% away. Linear kind of shows you that magnitude of the distance. And 4-hour 12 EMA rider, keeping it nice and simple. Another bounce off of it this morning at the crack of dawn and 20%. So as I've been saying in every stream, EMA riders and backburners are the key to this market environment. When those stop, that's when you pump the brakes and you determine, are we just now zooming out to a larger time frame EMA to ride? Or is there a bigger shift on? You look at your retracement sizes, you look at your reverse backburners, all of that stuff, and that's how you navigate step by step. No one's gonna know. No one will be able to tell you the top's in until the top is in. No one will be able to tell you that the show's gonna go on for 100 more percent until the show goes on for 100 more percent. But we can say the status quo remains, or our short-term status quo has shifted, but now we have a new status quo. You've got to be nimble. You've got to be open-minded. Now let's check in on the Bitcoin. Yeah, looks like another 2-minute higher low set. Could be a little 2-minute head and shoulders to try to get some 5-minute consolidation underway with some more conviction. We'll certainly be looking for a 5-minute higher low. So anybody who's like not in now, didn't buy the 4-hour oversold back burner, didn't play the hourly inverse head and shoulders, which again, another shout out to the Chart Guys community and just how it's beneficial to be in a community like this. This is 9:58 this morning on the bounce up that if bears defend resistance, we'll be watching for a potential 1 hour inverse head and shoulders. And then step 2, all over the same thing, kind of taking the torch back over, and 9:58, that's right here, that if bears defend this, then we'll be looking for the inverse head and shoulders. So that's more of the ideal spot to be getting in on something like this. But if you didn't do any of that, you're looking for a 4-hour higher low next round of consolidation. If you're a bear and you're wanting to short some stuff, you want to be picking on a weak alt. You want to be picking on a weak alt that has like a dinky 4-hour bounce at this point. So let's go to our ratio watch list and find a turd. Gala. I mean, we know Gala was strong. I don't know about that. Yeah, I would probably not do Gala because we're bouncing from daily 12 EMA. This is our guide. So Gala, I would feel like might be more of a laggard type play than like the turd that has structural damage that we're trying to pick on. Rune, maybe? I know Rune had a big ol' move, but is it coming down now, or is this just a daily 12 EMA? That's just a daily 12 EMA. I wouldn't be doing that. I'd say Rune's a more of a laggard style, similar to Gala. Who's weak? DOT. That's not too weak, but this with the head and shoulders, that's a much better 4-hour lower high short. Already, no, that's still riding the daily 12 EMA. I don't know who you'd short. Probably the list that we went through earlier, like Matic, AAVE. Was Algo really weak, right? Algo's already got a daily downtrend. No, who already has the daily downtrend? Because Algo's another daily 12 EMA. Look at all these daily 12 EMA riders that just are hitting right off of it. Yeah, maybe shorts just got to continue to be protective. Nothing's really like popping out. But in general, you want to play your weaklings short. You want to play your long names or your strong names long. Maybe some of our blue sky bulls. Yeah, I'd say like PNDL, 4-hour lower high, probably decent. But again, got to be cognizant of like a 2-day equilibrium. I mean, there's never certainties in any of this stuff, but you got a 4-hour 12 EMA rider. I would be much better off trying to look short on something like that that's been weak than it is to look short on something like Sol or even Bitcoin right now. Let's see if that second stair step worked. It's working, and this is with the awful risk to reward on the size of that candle. So again, remember these rules. We're doing this for an example, but if we were on top of it, it was right here with 7 seconds left, and I was trying to move it, that you would already be risk-free on it and good to go. But for example's sake, we're just going with it at the candle low, and it ends up working. So now at this point, you took a small loss on the first attempt. Now on your second attempt, you've got a risk-free position. If it ends up being the 4-hour lower high, you're good to go. And you don't even have to, we'll leave that on there for now. You don't even have to go that big with it. You could just say, all right, I'm just looking for 15-minute consolidation or something like that, which is underway now. And typically if I get one of these off the ground where I'm risk-free, I'm just scaling out at each EMA on the way. I'll take a little more off at 5-minute 12 EMA if we get there, take a little more off at 15-minute 12 EMA if we get there, and then leave the runner for the potential that that's the 4-hour lower high. I thought we had some decent, I think AAVE is maybe what I was thinking of when I was talking about Atom earlier. Daily head and shoulders. Who had the daily downtrend though? I guess, oh, I was looking at Atom BTC. No? I'm tripping. I don't know what I'm talking about, but yeah, Adam's got a daily downtrend. That's a weakling that I would be much more keen to do the 4-hour lower high on something like this. Hold on a second. I got to figure it out. It's going to distract me. What the heck was I looking at? I don't know. I do not know. Oh, I think I'm confusing Algo and Atom. I think that's what it was. Oh, waste your... Yeah, I was confusing Algo and Atom. Sorry, I'm distracting myself. So I think that's all I really got to talk about right now. I think that's all I really got to talk about. Let's see what y'all are trying to talk about. Jahanzi, what's up, dude? Revi, what's up, dude? You guys are here every stream, and I love it. Laka Flaka, thanks for the call for likes. Yeah, if y'all, we got 180 people in here and 75 likes. That's weak. Let's see though, Jahanzi, hello, sir. How are you doing? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Can you please share one trade and why you took it? Yeah, let's. I had a nice trade on NQ today and talk about that. So, deep pullback on the morning. Head and shoulders confirmed on the daily. The shift is on. Our NQES ratio has got a weekly downtrend convincingly for the first time since the 2023 low, and I was looking short on NQ. So had a strong 15-minute bounce, came to the 15-minute 12 EMA, and I took a short at 1861.50, I think. Let me pull up my broker. No, 18. I'll just do this so people don't think I'm full of garbage. So this is my first fill and my final cover right there. So we had 1860.75, and it was basically kind of what we're doing, or we're trying to do here on Bitcoin, but on the 15-minute with NQ. We're testing 15-minute 12 EMA, looking for a 15-minute lower high, and I didn't quite do a stair step. I was using smaller size here, so I was willing to. I took a starter, and I was going to take one more if we saw another leg up, and then have my stop at like 18,190, just kind of in that zone, because if you're going to reject from the 15-minute 12 EMA, where are we? If we're going to reject from the 15-minute 12 EMA, then we're probably not going up to 18,190. So sometimes if I'm doing like a looser style with this, I'll put my stop at the halfway point of the 12 and 26. So I took that short there and then covered some along the way down, covered a little bit in here, a little bit in here, and then left a runner. And then this is kind of a victory for me today mentally, because with the size of the 15-minute bounce, there's room for a 15-minute higher low. But I was kind of like, I don't know, it was just like knowing the context of what is, going on in the markets, because we have a shift on in the broad market, which I haven't even talked about that in relation to Bitcoin, but knowing that bears are finally proving something in the broad market, they're confirming this head and shoulders. And shout out to Devin in the chart, guys. If you haven't seen the interview with Devin from a couple weeks ago, Devin and Trend, two just absolute rock star traders, we took this short together, and I was going to cover the full thing for the 15-minute higher low, because that's the most likely scenario. And he encouraged me to leave some on because of the shift that we've got going on. And I said, you know what? You're right. I left some on. But then at this point, when you're coming down to low of day and you're like flushing it in 15-minute oversold conditions, 5-minute oversold conditions, hourly oversold conditions, my plan was essentially, if we break those lows, I'm going to cover the rest of the position. So this was the low here, 18,022.25, and I banged it. It actually felt super sweet, 18,023.75. We got one more little lower low, but obviously we're bouncing up here now. But that's pretty much my jam. Whether it's crypto, futures, commodities, whatever, it's very often smaller time frame clues into larger time frame EMAs, whether it be 15-minute, hourly, 4-hour, daily, weekly. EMAs are usually the guide there with it. And yeah, that's kind of the mechanics of a trade. So let's see what else we got here. Terabyte, what up? Colby, hello. Interfans, hello. Can I look at XVS? XVS USDT. So XVS, still a long way from all-time highs. And this is quite similar to Rune and to, who else did that? I guess Sol, right? Yeah, the flush down on the Bitcoin flush on the 5th, and then V-shaping back to highs. So XVS, that similar structure, and to look at Rune to just kind of compare, same deal, flush down, V-shape up. So we're kind of in that category. Let's look at if this is a monthly higher low BTC ratio play. If it's that same structure that those two had. Yeah, it's the same thing. Monthly consolidation on the ratio has relative weakness, but we're looking for a higher low. So we know that it won't be surprising when the ratio comes back to life, and it's still got a lot more work to do here. So let's start with the ratio, then we'll go to the USD pairing because the ratio is going to guide the way. So if this monthly higher low is going to shape up on XVS BTC, going to need this 3-day inverse head and shoulders to play out, and that would be step 1 to essentially get a weekly bounce underway with some more confidence, and then you got to get your weekly uptrend. So to look at XVS USDT, weekly 12 EMA rider, like so many names in the space right now, and bulls are also riding the daily 12 EMA. So looking into the 4-hour, if the daily 12 EMA is going to hold, going to need to see a 4-hour uptrend from here. So 15-minute stair step in the short term, 15-minute uptrend. If the stair step breaks, we'll look to 12 EMA. 12 EMA on the 15-minute time frame would need to be lost to shape up the 4-hour lower high, and then bulls who are not in can be scouting a 4-hour higher low compared to 1405. That's pretty much that. We got resistance at 1632. I would say we're probably anticipating a 12-hour lower high compared to, and we'll just work with the high wick here, 1748. You got 1721 before it. So I would anticipate a 12-hour lower high from there. Just meaning that, like, this percentage pull back here, 20%, makes it kind of tough just to go straight to higher highs and 25% move back up. But as long as you're holding your 12 EMA, you're decently healthy. So not too shabby. Let's get back to the crypto watch list. Checking on that Bitcoin. So, and where can y'all guess where we're bouncing from here? This is the 2-minute time frame that we're looking at on Bitcoin, but we'll go to the time frame that we're bouncing from the 12 EMA on. But this is why I said that I'd take some more off at 5-minute 12 EMA, and then I'll take some more off at 15-minute 12 EMA. You see it all the time. You see it all the time. And that's through the lens of, a bear trying to get the 4-hour lower high. If you're just trying to scalp, day trade, long, then you're buying 5-minute higher lows off the 12 EMA. You're buying 15-minute higher lows off the 12 EMA. Your larger time frame context shifts the odds of how long you can expect it to stick. So in this context, I wouldn't be too aggressive buying a 5-minute higher low because we know a 4-hour lower high is the most likely scenario. So then if a 4-hour lower high is going to shape up and you're buying a 5-minute higher low up here at the highs, you can put 2 and 2 together. It wouldn't be surprising to see it get stopped out. So, and another thing, you got to be on an exchange that doesn't have like crap fees and stuff, because like on Bitcoin itself, 0.66%, that's not shabby. It's not shabby. But if you're paying 0.3% one way in fees, then even if you nail the bottom and the top there, then you're almost getting chewed out in fees. So that's that is when fees become relevant. Like, I don't think about fees because I don't want to think about fees, but I'm typically trying to go for like at least 15-minute moves. I'll do the small time frame scalping to get positioned, but the hope is that it can stick for something longer. The hope is that it can stick for something longer. But if you're just trying to like micro scalp, you need to be on something that has low fees, or else it's not a viable strategy. So fees are relevant in terms of the viability of your strategy, and also for me, fees aren't relevant for other stuff because I choose to not have them be relevant in my mind. Obviously, it's still relevant. Like if I don't even want to look at this, but we'll do my futures fees for this year. I guess it's actually not that bad. I thought it was worse. 2,095 bucks in 2.5 months. Is that irrelevant? No, it's not irrelevant. It's 2,000 bucks. But do I want to be thinking about my fees when I'm trading? I don't, because it throws off my game. It throws off my game, and I found that it's more beneficial to me to not worry about them and focus on proper execution than as opposed to like squeezing a little more juice out of it to try to get my fees covered or this or that. So I just see that as the cost of the game. So other people may see it differently, and that is fine. Let's see, step 2 in chat. Weekly consolidation would not be surprising after such a run-up. No, it would not at all. It would not at all. Same thing we were talking about Wednesday, 91% move. Won't be surprising, won't be shocking, and we're getting signs that it is shaping on up, but the burden of proof is absolutely on bears. So we'll have to see, can they get a 4-hour lower high shaped up? Do bulls reconfirm a 4-hour uptrend from here on Bitcoin? Or do bears see deep 4-hour consolidation, maybe a 4-hour EQ, and then break it bare to take out the daily 12 EMA? A couple ways it could play out. Let's see. I'm gonna keep going through chat. Let's see. Lil Riley got tricked out of a sold position last night. Sorry to hear, my friend. Let me try to guess where it tricked you out. I guess maybe this 4-hour consolidation. You always want to, typically when you're getting tricked out of a position, like maybe it was here, this hourly downtrend, it's when you're too zoomed in, because ultimately the larger time frames are really what's dictating things. So if you're in huge size or something, then yeah, this 2% move down, 3.24% move down, that matters. And I'm not, there's nothing wrong with stopping out of that, but you want to make sure that you're not like stopping out right into the most likely scenario on a larger time frame. We're riding the 4-hour 12 EMA. We're pulling back to the 4-hour 12 EMA. If you're stopping out here from an entry here, then your trade management needs some tuning. But maybe not. It's just a matter of conservative versus aggressive. If you're entering in here looking for a move up, then that's decently aggressive. It can work out for you sometimes, but sometimes it's not gonna. And you're gonna have to stop it out. And then if you're stopping out right in the zone where we're looking for a higher low on the EMA we're riding, then it sucks. It'll happen to all of us at times, because sometimes you do everything right, but you were just aggressive, and the aggressive play didn't work out. And if the aggressive play did work out, then you would have made a bunch. So we got to make sure too that we're not like too outcome dependent when we're evaluating our performance and stuff. You want to be process oriented, and sometimes it's okay to go aggressive, take a loss, and stop out, because it's not about what you lost there solely. It's about, no pun intended with that, it's not about what you lost there solely, because the other side of the equation is you could have made a bunch of money. So always got to weigh that out in unison and make sure you're being fair to yourself. Let's see. Thank you, Ryan V, on the 2-minute stair step example. And I'm glad. It's almost better that it took the second attempt for it to work out, because that's something that a lot of people overlook when they're doing the stair steps. They don't necessarily, because you need a little mental endurance to go for the second attempt, and it can feel like you're banging your head against the wall if you take one and you stop out and you're like, oh, I got to try again. And that's why always at least 2 and no more than 3. At least 2, no more than 3, and this is exactly why, and in hindsight, it's better that it played out this way than if it had just worked the first time. Let's see. My pleasure, Pergar. Let's see, Decipher. If you're in the US, there definitely are limited options for shorting stuff. You typically either need to be using a VPN and feigning your location, and obviously, that has, it's doing illegal things is not good. Plenty of people do it. There's risks involved with that, without a doubt. So that's the more common way. The other way is if you use Kraken, you can short, but you just need to tell them that you have $10 million. That's the number. So, I don't believe they check your stuff on that. So I don't have a Kraken account. I haven't told them I have 10 million bucks, but I know some people that have told them they have 10 million bucks. They don't have 10 million bucks and they can short on Kraken. It's typically a liability thing for them. Like, they just want to make sure that you're not going to be able to sue them, because if you get smoked and you lied about your stuff, then they're like absolved of responsibility of all of that stuff. So, but yeah, it stinks. It stinks in the US for crypto. If we had a legit crypto exchange, I would have the bulk of my net worth on there, but we don't. So, it stinks. It stinks. Thinking back to the FTX days in 2021, like, I didn't trade anything else. I only traded crypto because crypto's the bomb. But, without having a proper broker, it's straight up not the bomb. It's straight up not the bomb. I mean, crypto's still the bomb, but trading it is not the bomb. Let's see. Hort Stew. Did I use the 4-hour RSI low to determine if the back burner was triggered? No, I used this indicator. It's called RSI levels by Abdami, and that projects your RSI levels out for what the RSI will be on the candle that we're on. So I'll brighten up this line again, and I'll brighten up this line again. I keep them dim on my chart because I don't want it to be too overpowering, but these show you where 30 RSI and 70 RSI are. And if you look at your regular RSI indicator, this is based on close. So if you close up here, it pulls the RSI up and it won't look like it actually hit oversold. So you can change the settings in your RSI to go off of low instead of close. But what that does, because that doesn't solve your issue either, because then the previous 14 candles that you're working off of are based off of the low as well. So then you just have different calculations for everything. So the whole back burner dealio is based off of the RSI on close. So yeah, and I guess we will actually just switch it to show how putting it to low doesn't solve the issue, because on low it didn't hit either, but because it's doing all of these other ones off of the low instead of the close. So it just changes the way it's all calculated. But the RSI levels by Abdami, gangbusters indicator, I just have it set up on a template, which if you don't know how to do the indicator templates, you set your stuff up how you want, add the indicators that you want. You go into here, you do save indicator template, type in your jazz, and then you hit the star and it will pull it up here. So then you can single click from historical RSI indicator, my clean chart, my RSI level projector chart, my moving averages 20, 50, and 200 chart, my TD sequential volume profile chart. You get the you get the picture, but definitely helpful to just be able to single click through all this stuff. So, all right, that 2-minute stair step ended up being good. And now we're still a bit away from 15-minute 12 EMA, but it's coming. It's coming into play to a degree. See, I got more alerts going off. New high a day on MSOS. Nice. Nice. All right. I am going to wrap it on up. Thank y'all for tuning on in. If you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. If you are not subscribed to the channel, you should give it a shot. Got over 10,000 videos, tons of free knowledge and information from a bunch of chart nerds who love this stuff. So, and if you want to trade the community or trade the stuff with the community, you know, check out Chart Guys. We got there's a 1-month membership option. And, you know, I know everybody misses Dan. Dan is here, 257, posting in the room, doing his thing. And just look at all of this activity in here right now. And I don't like doing the sales pitch as someone on the Chart Guys staff, but I would give this exact same sales pitch as a member, as I did. You know, I joined Chart Guys as a member, like everybody else who has joined Chart Guys. And then I just loved it so much that I'm still here and have, now I'm on staff with it. But this is not like a sales pitch that I'm like forced to give. I'm telling you, Chart Guys is gangbusters. Everybody's in here busting all this stuff out. And the thing is that like now is the time to be doing this. When we enter the next bear market, these channels will get very quiet. They will get very quiet, and only the hardcore folks who are sharpening the saw for the next bull market will be in there. Because that's the thing, like the ideal situation is you build up your skills during, a bear market or, one hype market, and then you continue to build them up until the next one. Like it takes multiple times. Like anybody who watched that interview knows that Devin absolutely crushed the 2021 bull hype market, but he didn't do well in 2017 and 2018. So it takes multiple cycles to get things going. I think someone said something really nice. It was like your first hype market is for learning, your second hype market is for making some money, and your third hype market is for making your life. So I've always kind of liked that. So it takes time. If you're new to crypto here and you're not slaying the hype market, know that none of the people who are slaying these hype markets were slaying their first hype market. And most people aren't slaying their second hype market. You do well, but to do what Devin did, it takes a lot of dedication, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of discipline, diligence. It's not motivation. A lot of people are interested in crypto right now because it's easy to be motivated to be interested in crypto because everything's going up. But the people who put in the time when it's boring and difficult and stay disciplined with it, motivation's fleeting. That comes and goes. You cannot rely on motivation. You can capitalize on motivation, but you can't rely on it. You got to rely on discipline. All right. Sorry for not. Let's see here. Foxy, do you take any payment method other than Stripe? We take some crypto. If you email in, we can get you set up with the details on how to pay via crypto. I want to say it might just be BTC that we accept. But Toby, the guy who made the Trader Pro system, which that's another thing, in this hype market, if you Googled Trader Pro, TRADR Pro, that's a whole like back burner. I mean, there's a bunch of different metrics that it works off of, but that's a whole alert system that basically allows you to have like 1 million eyes on the market while only having 2 eyes in your head. So yeah, Toby created that alongside Dan. Dan is the mind for it. Toby's also part of the mind for it. Super, super smart dude, but he's the one who put it, took it from an idea to an actionable thing. But yeah, he'll answer your email if you send something in asking about paying in crypto. Let's see. Crypto Kitty, have you ever heard of the VC cryptonomy? Nope, I have not. If not, can you have the Truck Guys team contact them and find out if it's legit? Probably not, my friend. I'm sorry. Probably not, my friend. Aries Rock, thanks for the 99 cents. 5th super like on stream. You are a rock star. Appreciate it. And if I had to spend 99 cents right now, what would I spend it on? I'd probably just be sticking with Sol. I'd probably wait for the next 4-hour higher low on Sol. Or no, maybe I would do FET. Maybe I would do FET and do FET 4-hour higher low. Put 99 cents in there. See if can't turn it into $5. All right. That's all I've got. Hope y'all have a wonderful weekend. No, that's not all I've got. I gotta talk one more thing here. So we know the weekends, it has not been uncommon to see Bitcoin just tighten up through the weekend. So being Friday at 3:47 p.m., I'd say this is probably the range that we're working with. And the question will be, if Bitcoin tightens up on the weekend, does Bitcoin dominance drop and we see these alts that are smoked play some catch up? So that'll be the big question. That'll be the big question. Got to watch Bitcoin dominance, but I would probably anticipate a tightening range. I mean, it's hard not to anticipate a tightening range on the weekend just because that's what we've been getting most of the time. But I don't know. A bear raid wouldn't shock me. A bull raid wouldn't shock me. Nothing can shock you in the crypto space. And at this point, the technicals point towards a tightening range. So I guess we'll just stick with that. 15-minute consolidation pushing below the 12 EMA. Room being created for a 15-minute lower high. The 4-hour lower high is going to shape up. Bears are going to need to confirm a 15-minute downtrend. And at this point, that 2-minute stair step looking juicy. Looking juicy. 1.84% off of it at this point. And we can deduct our 0.42%. So we can say, 1.4% gains at this point because we did have the initial stop out. All right, that's truly all I've got. Hope y'all have a great weekend. We'll tweet out if there's anything juicy. If you didn't watch the last stream, go back and watch it. Lots of important stuff in there. Lots of people reaching out saying that they were really, they needed that and it was helpful. So, they all kind of feel more or less the same to me. But, based on feedback, I can kind of tell like if that was good or if that was crap. All right. Farewell. See you guys next time, probably Monday. We'll check back in. Take it easy, y'all.